Today's Music Monday, and this week I spoke to Matt Foote of Amateur Hockey Club at Mohawk Place.
I'm Matt. I am the lead singer and guitarist in Amateur Hockey Club. Amateur Hockey Club is a four-piece band. My bandmates aren't here, but Craig Perno plays guitar and sings backups. Abram Thompson plays bass and sings backups, and Mitch Riviere is our drummer. So the name Amateur Hockey Club actually, when we were first starting out, we had a couple of songs done and we were like, okay, well, what comes next is a name for the band. And we didn't really have anything coming to us. On that particular night, at that particular practice, we were drinking Molson Canadian. And around this time, on the back of Molson Canadian bottles, it said that Molson Canadian is the perfect beer for your amateur hockey club. So it's just right there. That's all it is. Nothing more complicated than that. It's lucky that we kind of fell into, there's been a big resurgence in the last few years of emo bands making sports jokes in their band names. So we're hopped right on that wave. I started playing music. The first instrument I ever played was the recorder in elementary school, and then I moved off of the recorder and onto the flute in 4th grade. In 7th grade, they tried to teach me a B natural. On the flute, you learn a B flat first, so I just really didn't want to learn a different B. That was too complicated, so I quit playing flute, and a couple months later, I asked my mom if I could start playing guitar. And she said, are you going to quit that too? So then I've played guitar every day since then to prove that I wouldn't quit it. I was in a couple of different bands when I was in high school, and mostly purely as a guitar player. I was in a band a few years ago called The Odds Are. That was kind of like a pop rock thing, where I was still the guitar player, but I started doing more songwriting, and then now Amateur Hockey Club is kind of like my songwriting baby. I do a lot of writing. That was the journey. The very first lineup of Amateur Hockey Club was literally just my previous band, The Odds Are, minus our singer, because he moved to New York City. So it was very difficult to do rehearsals with him being in New York City. So we were just going on as a four-piece, basically instrumental then, with the expectation that one of us would pick up singing eventually. So Amateur Hockey Club just kind of grew out of that. Since then, there's been a bunch of different lineup changes, and basically the music and the direction of the band has changed in a pretty major way too, but that's where it came from. When we first started out, we were writing much longer songs that tended to kind of fall into long instrumental jam sections, which was fun, but is hard to kind of market if you're not playing to a jam crowd, and we were kind of playing emo music with a jam song structure, which was hard to do. Now, kind of where we're at right now, my favorite band of all time is Fall Out Boy, so there's definitely a lot of that in our music, and my favorite band of right now is a band called Microwave, which is kind of like a pop punk and also grunge revival type band, and then I think that a lot of our music kind of underneath the surface is influenced by like late 90s, early 2000s alternative rock radio, like bands like Third Eye Blind, because that was just the music that we were all listening to in our formative years, and it's kind of hard to not let that influence what you do when you start writing for yourself. Our new song is called You Started a Fire. It's one of Amateur Hockey Club's oldest songs. It was the very first song that we played at our very first show at the Tudor Lounge in the fall of 2017, so it's been kicking around for quite a while. Our band has gone through a couple of different lineup changes, and kind of as that's happened, the shape and the texture of the song has changed too. I think that Craig and Abram bring kind of a grit and a drive to the band that it's a different skill set, not better or worse than other members that we've had, but that's been really cool to explore. I'm really happy with the arrangement that we landed on, and it kind of started as like a riffy kind of southern rock feel, but then when we got into the studio and worked with RJ on it, we just like kept adding more and more stuff, and now it's like teetering on a metalcore song. It's got like some post-hardcore elements that are super cool. We're really proud of this song. We recorded it at Quiet Country Audio, which is the nicest studio I've ever been to, and was one of the best recording experiences I've ever had. I know that we've been playing it live again with this lineup for about a half a year now, and it kind of just, when we play some of our other songs, like the crowd will sing it if they know the words, but like basically nobody knows this song, but just kind of the way that it's structured and the way that it builds, basically everybody gets hyped up. So it's been a lot of fun to play live and a lot of fun to watch people learn, and I hope that now that it's out, that it's coming out, that people will connect to it and listen to it at home, and hopefully elevate that whole live experience for that song too. On December 2nd, Amateur Hockey Club is going to be here at Mohawk Place, kind of celebrating the release of our new single. We're playing with BP and the Oil Spills, Cooler, and Quit Yourself, so that's going to be a really cool one. We're looking forward to it. Tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your friends, tell your enemies, just like anybody that you think would enjoy the show should come on through. My dream show would include several bands that wouldn't really make sense to play together, because the best live performance I've ever seen in my life, I saw a Panic at the Disco headliner at the arena, and the best show I've ever been to, the most fun I've ever had, I saw Microwave in the basement of a pizza place. So if I could somehow put together a show that Amateur Hockey Club would get to play that would capture the essence of Microwave in a basement and of Panic at the Disco at an arena, that would be like my dream show. And Fall Out Boy in the 1975 would also be on it as support acts. So I've got kind of a personal bias in favor of We Were Blank because I got to write lead guitar parts for a lot of their songs. But I do really love playing with We Were Blank, and I think that they are 10 times the band today as they were when I was a member of them. They're so tight now, and their songwriting has grown so much. So it's been really fun to be able to play with them and watch them grow as musicians and as performers. I always love playing with Ashford and BP and the Oil Spills, which are 50% of the same band. But all the people in those bands are really cool. They feel like siblings to me. Trevor, the vocalist and guitarist in Ashford, has worked as an engineer on a lot of our music and also as a photographer at a lot of our shows, so that's been really cool. And then Blaze from BP and the Oil Spills is now like the best booker and promoter in Buffalo. So I would recommend that anybody works with him if they have the chance. I also, Craig hates when I talk about his other band, but his band Smug is one of my favorite local bands. I like seeing them live whenever they get to play, and I love being able to have them on Amateur Hockey Club shows too, so that I can both play with Craig and also watch Craig play, because that's always a delight. And then also just want to shout out Fernway. Over the last year, we've had the opportunity to play with them twice, once at the Oxford Pennant Stage at Town Ballroom, opening for their album release show, which was up until that point in time the biggest show we ever played, and then that was upseated by when we played with them at their Halloween show at Ironworks a couple of weeks ago. So that was a really cool opportunity. They're all really nice guys who make really good music. Their vocalist RJ is the primary engineer and producer on our music, so that's a really great connection to have. And I also want to shout out Carpool, who aren't Buffalo local, except for half of them are. They're technically based out of Rochester, but we've also had the opportunity to play with them a few times this year, and they're one of my favorite bands to listen to. So to be able to know them as people too has been very exciting. And I also want to shout out their manager, Dan Doyle, who I expected would be running the Buffalo music scene by now, but instead he's decided to take over the world, which I think is better suited for him anyway. I've got a couple of different favorite songs to play live, kind of for different reasons. We have a song called Bones that everybody always gets really into. That's kind of like the biggest crowd pleaser. We were using it as our closer for our set for a long time, so that's really fun. I know that We have a song called Fresh Blood, where during the guitar solo, there's a couple of big like stops. So me and Abram and Craig have synchronized kicks that it's like very dumb, but it's really fun to do live. And then just thinking through, we have a song called You Get What You Pay For, where when we just get in like we don't play it at every show, but when we get into a room where it's like a lot of our old fans are around, people that have been listening to that song for a long time, there's a vocal break in there that we can basically just give away to the crowd and let them sing. And my favorite part of that isn't even just the people singing, it's watching Craig be shocked by the reaction and just like him be so happy by the reaction each time always kind of warms my heart. We always love playing Mohawk Place, especially when you've got a really good lineup here. It's really fun. Playing at Nishi's is really cool because there's a certain amount of like a built-in crowd, and it's just when you're on Allen Street, you don't know who's just going to stumble into the venue and give you the time of your life. We had a headlining show at Rec Room about a year ago today. That was kind of like a big coming of age moment for us. Literally just like looking at that specifically, that was booked by After Dark, and the very first shows that I ever played were also After Dark shows. We used to play at Extreme Wheels, which was an indoor skate park / punk venue, and the bands I was in at the time were so bad, but those shows were so much fun, and it was such a cool opportunity, and if I could play X Wheels again today, I absolutely would. I mentioned when I was talking about Fernway, Ironworks, and the Oxford Pen and Stage at Town Ballroom, which were like, wow, we made it moments in terms of just like the professionalism of the venue and the venue staff and the way that those shows run and the quality of the stage and the quality of the lights. Those were really great experiences too. Yo, what up, AHC Nation? It's your boy. I would just like to say to my fellow musicians in the scene, make sure that you're obviously bringing your all to your own shows, but like just go see other people's shows. I think that I feel more now at 28 than I ever did when I was a kid, that we're like really creating a scene and creating a culture here in Buffalo of bands that maybe sound similar, maybe that don't, but of just incredible support for each other and just making really good music. And I love going out to shows. I wish that I could more, but when I get to go to a local show and I see other local musicians there just as members of the audience, it like really makes me feel proud of our city and proud of the scene that we're building, that we're all just out there supporting each other. So thanks for doing that. I encourage you to keep doing that, and I'm gonna keep doing the same.
That was Matt Foote of Amateur Hockey Club. I'll have all the links down below so you can check out the band's music. And for Music Monday, I'm Adam Duke, News 4.